Do you trust Alvin Kamara in 2020? Top 5 running back.
You're watching the Fantasy Football Show.
Alvin Kamara's value is going to be really up and down all offseason long, and rightly so. I mean, he struggled, he disappointed everybody, including me, especially me. But I think he walks into 2020 as an interesting fantasy football prospect because I think people will be so scared of him, even though he bounced back at the end of the year and showed signs of being the Alvin Kamara of old. People will be so scared off based on last year that I think by default you're looking at an 8 to 12 overall pick. Had he not bounced back at the tail end of 2020, we'd probably all be looking at a freaking 12 to 13 overall pick, which would be an even bigger steal. But I think he's still by default going to not climb any higher than like the 8 spot, 9 spot, maybe later. And if you compare him in almost a bookend type situation with a Devontae Adams, you're looking at a duo that can rival the duo of somebody that has like a top 4 pick and grabs a receiver later in the second round. I'm not all in every league. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Never do that. But we play in enough leagues where you can take a stab at a guy like Kamara who has the upside of a top 5 running back. Skill set wise, he has it. If you're going to throw 2018 out the window and sit here and tell me he doesn't have the skill to be a top 5 running back on a healthy year, on a year where they utilize him properly, then you didn't watch the film in 2018. Should he climb into top 5 to 6 running back value? I think the scale is at least even, if not more weighted toward the side of risk. From 8 to 12, that scale tips in favor of the upside, and that makes him a guy I'd invest in at least 1 or 2 of my leagues in 2020. Maximize your value at every pick. Kamara is good value at 8 to 12.
Trying to figure out a way to explain this. There's an account on Instagram. Cool dude. He's at The Fantasy Football Show. Recommend everyone go follow him.
I give you the fantasy showdown. 96 owners in this league.
He's trying to launch this league that's going to be a slow draft, which commences right after the Super Bowl. 96 teams.
I'm putting 8 copies of each player into the player pool.
He's offered up 2 spots to viewers and listeners of this show.
I'll be giving away seats to my community, of course, but I'm going to allot a certain number of seats to give away to other fantasy page communities. The winner of this league is going to get an Amazon Fire 7. If you throw 8 copies of every player into the player pool, your team will look just like a team in a 12-team league. You're essentially looking at a combination of McCaffrey, Zeke, Barkley, Cook going from picks 1 through 32. I'm putting
8 copies of each player into the player pool.
Each round will have 96 picks in it. I know that sounds crazy. You're essentially looking at a combination of McCaffrey, Zeke, Barkley, Cook going from picks 1 through 32. Here is another twist to this. 3 bench spots. You only get 3 bench spots, which adds a dynamic of strategy that is going to make this league the most fun league ever assembled. How do you get a seat for your people? If you are a fantasy page, you know the drill. Make a case in your stories that you want seats for your community. If you want your community in, not only will you get a seat as the page owner, the leader of your crew, your community, but I'll give a certain number, I'm not sure yet how many, but a certain number of seats to those community leaders. So for example, Bob has this fantasy page. I give Bob a seat and 2 or 3 to give away to his community. He can do what he wants to give those away, create buzz, recruit people, but represent your community in this league. The Fantasy Football Show community, I will be giving a large portion of seats to. The Fantasy Football Showdown, Battle of the Pimps, man. Get ready. It's going to be the biggest league you've ever seen in Instagram or across YouTube or anywhere. This draft is going to be insane. 8 copies of every player is insane. Who will be the last pimp Who will be the last pimp standing at the end of this league? Who will have the most total points at the end of this league? Who's going to have the best strategy and approach when you only have 3 bench spots? And you've got to do a cycle of dropping and adding all season long. Fantasy pages, if you want in, make some noise. And don't get all butthurt if you don't get in. There will only be so many spots to give away. Yes, 96 is a lot. But when I'm trying to give them away to communities and batches, there's a chance you won't get in. Not everybody can play in this league. So if you want to get in, don't ask and complain in a DM or in a comment. Show me. Have your community show me. Be loud. If you're not loud, why the hell would I let you in? Get to work. If you're in my community, if you are a follower of the Fantasy Football Show, I'll have contests and giveaways all January long. When does the league kick off? The draft begins the moment the NFL Super Bowl kicks off. Oh, is that too early for you? Are you worried about injuries? The same injuries that anybody could face? Well, then maybe this isn't a league for you. Put your big boy pants on and buckle up. Get ready. This will be the biggest freaking fantasy league on the planet. Everybody's going to want a seat in this league. The Fantasy Showdown. Let's do it. What's going on? I'm Smitty from SleeperU.com. Thanks for coming by and checking out the site. If you want your league mates to be like, how the hell did you know about that player? Then you want SleeperU.com. We're bold and ahead of the curve. One of, I think, the bigger breakout candidates for 2019 is Chris Godwin. I think you could be looking at a string of games where Godwin's actually leaned on as the team's wide receiver one. I've been dropping bold predictions for over 16 years on CBS Sports Radio and NBC Sports Radio. Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones were on my top 10 bold predictions last year. The year before that, Pat Mahomes was number one. Alvin Kamara the year before that. The list goes on and on all the way back to Arian Foster.
Arian Foster, he's a guy we've been recommending people reach for in the 4th and 5th round in most drafts. I see nothing but big things for this guy, and he's my monster breakout prediction for 2010.
Jimmy Graham, Antonio Brown. The site's loaded with rankings, redraft, rookie, dynasty, super rookie rankings, which have the rookies and sophomores only. Those are super popular on the site. The rankings are drag and drop, and you can redline them out when a player's been drafted. Trade calculators, mock draft simulators, all redraft, dynasty, and rookie capable. You can even add keepers into the draft simulator. A draft board that you can follow along with your draft and redline players out. Tons of articles, all bold. Dynasty, redraft content. We are hardcore dynasty, but everything I attack from a redraft and a dynasty angle, so you get the best of both worlds in your content. Revamp player pages, which are going to be off the hook in 2020. And one-on-one advice with me where we can correspond back and forth all year, so you pick up the right players, make the right trades, make the right starts. And the price points for the products are very simple. I've got 2 price points. All the content with one-on-one advice, all the content without the one-on-one advice. Very simple pricing. And I've added 15-minute phone calls you can buy a la carte where I can dial you up and we can talk about whatever you want. Woo! I'm excited about that. It's a brand new feature. I hope you become a part of this family because we really are a close-knit family here at SleeperU.com. Thank you for coming by and checking it all out. Let's tear it up in 2020. Let's go.